What happens when humanity's most ambitious mission to reach Mars collides with a catastrophic setback? Elon Musk's Starship, once hailed as the vessel of our interplanetary future, now faces a disaster that threatens to shatter his boldest dream. This isn't just about rockets, it's about the future of space exploration itself. Buckle up, because the road to Mars just got a lot more turbulent. Elon's dream of Mars. As early as 2007, Elon Musk stated a personal goal of enabling human exploration and settlement of Mars, using SpaceX as the vehicle to ensure the long-term survival of the human species by humankind becoming multiplanetary. With all technologies geared towards it, it appears that this is a planned objective of the company SpaceX, and particularly of its founder Elon Musk, to send humans to live on Mars. The plan is to establish a self-sustaining, large-scale settlement and directly democratic self-governing colony. And the motivation behind this? There's the belief that colonizing Mars will allow humanity to become multiplanetary, thereby ensuring the long-term survival of the human race if it becomes extinct on Earth, leaving Elon Musk and SpaceX with the task of finding out the best possible way to achieve this. Since the 2000s and early 2010, SpaceX has proposed different methods for reaching Mars, including the use of space tugs. SpaceX also planned to use reusable and mass-produced super heavy-lift launch vehicles called Starship, popularly referred to as the holy grail of rocketry for extraplanetary colonization. And whether Elon Musk and SpaceX were going to be successful remained a question of what technology is to be employed and how effective it is going to be. However, Elon Musk's Mars dream seems to be one that might possibly take a long time to be achieved. In a recent statement about the proposed mission, Musk said that Starship's earliest possible Mars landing could have been 2022, and that a crewed mission to Mars would take place no earlier than 2029. As part of the plan, SpaceX's early missions to Mars will involve small fleets of Starship spacecraft funded by public-private partnerships, with SpaceX stating that it plans to build a crewed base on Mars, which it hopes will grow into a self-sufficient colony. But before anybody could be transported to Mars, a number of cargo missions would be undertaken in order to transport equipment, habitats, and supplies. Equipment that would accompany the early groups would include machines to produce fertilizer, methane, and oxygen from Mars's atmospheric nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and the planet's subsurface water ice, as well as construction materials to build transparent domes for growing crops. As of September 2024, SpaceX planned to launch 5 uncrewed Starships to Mars during the next available Earth-Mars transfer window in 2026. Musk's plans for the first crewed Mars mission state that it will consist of approximately 12 people, with goals to build and troubleshoot the propellant plant and Mars-based alpha power system and establish a rudimentary base. The company plans to synthesize methane from subsurface water and atmospheric carbon dioxide with the Sabatier reaction so that it can produce enough fuel for return journeys, and use similar technologies on Earth to create carbon-neutral propellant. Stirred by his dream, determination, and backed up by SpaceX, Elon Musk introduced a massively insane technology, representing one of the most daring attempts of all time. Now the question is, what plan was put in place, and how effective was it? The Red Dragon and Starship. The Red Dragon was a 2011 to 2017 mission concept which would have used a modified Dragon 2 spacecraft as a low-cost Mars lander. The Dragon 2 was slated to be launched on a Falcon Heavy rocket and would have landed by using its Super Draco retro propulsion thrusters, but equipping the craft with parachutes would not have been possible without significant modifications. And in the actual sense of it, there was an actual plan. In 2011, SpaceX planned to use Red Dragon for Discovery Mission number 13, which would have been launched in 2022, but the plan was not submitted to NASA. In 2014, Red Dragon was proposed as a low-cost way for NASA to obtain a Mars sample return by 2021, and would have been equipped with a system for returning samples gathered on Mars to Earth, but NASA did not fund this concept. And yet again, in 2016, SpaceX planned to launch 2 Red Dragon vehicles to Mars in 2018, with NASA providing technical support instead of funding. Eventually, in 2017, Red Dragon was canceled in favor of something that promised to change the way technological advancements and going into space is being viewed. This was a moment of resilience and determination when SpaceX came up with the powerful and revolutionary Starship. In 2014, SpaceX began building a facility called Starbase, and later a factory called Star Factory on the previously populated and wildlife preservation area at Boca Chica, Texas, Peninsula in the Rio Grande Delta at the Gulf of Mexico, to build and launch a fully reusable super heavy lift launch vehicle named Starship. The vehicle's reusability would greatly reduce launch costs, enabling rapid maintenance between flights. It was intended that when Starship became operational, it would travel to Mars carrying human colonists. Musk has stated that a Starship orbital launch could eventually cost $2 million, after starting at $10 million within 2 to 3 years and dropping with time. Star Factory would eventually build Starships at the rate of 1 per day. The rocket consists of a super heavy first stage booster and a Starship second stage spacecraft powered by Raptor and Raptor vacuum engines. Both stages are made from stainless steel. Methane was chosen as fuel for the Raptor engines because it is relatively inexpensive, produces a low amount of soot as compared to other hydrocarbons, and could be created on Mars from carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and hydrogen via the Sabatier reaction. The engine family uses a new metal alloy for the main combustion chamber, enabling it to contain 300 bars of pressure, the most of all current engines. In the future, this engine could reportedly be mass-produced and cost about $230,000 per engine, or $100 per kilonewton of thrust. These plans for colonizing Mars have received both praise and criticism. They have also been supported by public interest in further human involvement beyond Earth, and a desire to extend the lifetime of the human race. But doubts have been expressed about whether they will work, how it will be done, and whether humans from Earth could live on Mars. It's now a matter of maybe or maybe not. Elon Musk's dream will become a reality, and it boils down to Starship not fulfilling its alleged potential. Elon's Mars dream threatened. SpaceX launched 83% of the world's spacecraft last year, and Musk remains overly optimistic with his development timelines at SpaceX and other ventures. But technical and human health roadblocks have been identified and therefore must be addressed before SpaceX's latest rocket. The Super Heavy booster and Starship spacecraft, collectively called Starship, can reach Mars. SpaceX had launched its 9th Starship flight test, successfully completing milestones such as flying a previously flown booster, but falling short of the test's full goals. Starship launched from South Texas a little after 6:30 p.m. with liftoff and vehicle separation going as expected. However, SpaceX was not planning to catch the booster, most of which had previously flown on the 7th flight test, and was instead attempting to collect data with a more aggressive landing in the Gulf of Mexico when Super Heavy exploded. Starship completed its ascent and went significantly farther than the past 2 tests, which exploded while climbing into space, but SpaceX lost control of its orientation. The spacecraft also ended with an explosion before landing in the Indian Ocean. Elon Musk announced a big improvement over the last flight and added that there was no significant loss of heat shield tiles during ascent, but admitted leaks caused loss of main tank pressure during the coast and re-entry phase. He pledged that the next 3 flights would have faster turnarounds, with the company receiving regulatory approval to launch up to 25 times a year from Starbase, Texas. Elon Musk was supposed to give an update on the company after the Starship flight test, but couldn't, and now analysts, researchers, and space lawyers have weighed in on Musk's plan. What did they say? Was it a conspiracy that needs to be taken seriously? Stick around, as this is the most interesting part of this video. Stephen Berg, an assistant professor at Rutgers University whose expertise includes in-space propulsion and space systems, said in an email that it's really hard for him to be that optimistic based on the recent Starship test results. He said that SpaceX has struggled with a new version of its spacecraft, which has exploded on the past 3 flight tests, and Starship has not yet orbited the Earth. He added that spacecraft cannot go directly to Mars once it does reach orbit, explaining that Starship uses so much propellant escaping Earth and must be refilled in space. Berg expects Musk's schedule to slip by 2 years in the best case scenario, and in the worst case scenario, it could slip by a decade. Phil Smith, a space industry analyst at Bryce Tech, said propellant has been transferred in space before, but never at this scale, citing orbital refueling as a significant but certainly not insurmountable engineering challenge. He added that the heat shield is perhaps the biggest challenge, as this has never been done before. Another researcher, Smith, said that there is also the problem of losing propellant in space, revealing that Starship's liquid oxygen is kept at roughly negative 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and its liquid methane is roughly negative 260 degrees Fahrenheit. Smith revealed that some propellant boils off and evaporates as the spacecraft absorbs heat from the sun, thereby leading to the spacecraft's inability to linger indefinitely in orbit. However, he was hesitant to completely dismiss Musk's schedule, but quickly added that the health concerns of people need to be addressed. Dr. Farhan M. Asrar, a space medicine researcher and associate dean for Toronto Metropolitan University's School of Medicine, said that Mars does not have a planet-wide magnetic field, and so a person on its surface will experience 60 to 120 times more radiation than on Earth, and even more during transits. There are also reports that NASA does not allow its astronauts' radiation exposure to exceed 600 millisieverts, the equivalent of 6,000 chest x-rays over their career. This limit is said to be reached some 400 days into a roughly 3-year round-trip journey to Mars. It was also noted that the combination of radiation and time spent in microgravity can cause a range of health conditions. Communication delays between Earth and Mars are also believed to be up to 22 minutes each way, which means that physicians on Earth cannot help during a heart attack or appendicitis, requiring a Mars healthcare system that uses more automation and artificial intelligence. There are also concerns around mental health and the expiration dates of medicine, prompting Asrar to advocate for sending humans to the moon, which is closer to Earth and better for testing technologies before Mars. But despite the challenges encountered, Elon Musk is not resting, as he's focused on sending 20 starships to Mars in 2028 and 2029. He would then send 100 spacecraft 2 years later and 500 in 2033. And that's a wrap on Elon Musk's Mars dream in Jeopardy. What do you think about the possibility of Elon Musk going to Mars? Drop it in the comments, smash that like button if you enjoyed the ride, and subscribe for more wild luxury stories from the world of sports and celebrity. Until next time, bye for now.